Hi, welcome to the Terminal Exchange, the official podcast of Nussbaum Transportation, where we explore key issues and compelling stories in the trucking industry. I'm your host, Saige Anderson, and today you're listening to episode 85, On Mission with the Midwest Food Bank. Nussbaum is really excited and proud to work with the Midwest Food Bank. The Midwest Food Bank works to alleviate hunger around the U.S. and around the globe. Today, we're going to be talking with Marketing Director Melanie Tennell about the Midwest Food Bank's services, ways to volunteer, and how God is using them to bless others. If you want to learn more, don't worry, it's going to be in our show notes. And now, here's our feature exchange.
So why don't you introduce yourself?
All right, I'm Melanie Tennell. I'm the Marketing Director at Midwest Food Bank.
Okay. And Melanie, why do you work at the Midwest Food Bank?
So for me, honestly, it was a God story for me. I've kind of talked about this with a couple employees, and I believe that you have experiences in life, and everything is for a reason. Mm-hmm. God directs you down a path, and for me, it was, I've worked at several other companies, and mm-hmm. I was looking for that position that was going to allow for that helping of others, but also mm-hmm. kind of that fulfillment. I wanted to feel like I was a part of something bigger than me.
Yeah.
And I think Midwest Food Bank does that every single day.
Okay. Yeah. I've done a little research on the Midwest Food Bank, and I know that there's just a lot of huge numbers, and looking into it, it honestly reminds me a lot of the story of Jesus, how he took the little boy's few loaves and bread, and he just multiplied it past what we could ever imagine possible. And so, yeah, it just seems like the same thing is happening here today at the Midwest Food Bank. And I'd love to hear just a little bit about those stats. Where are you guys? What do you do? Who do you serve?
So you've got kind of unpack that a little bit. So I would say when we originally started, we never thought that it would get, and we would grow to the magnitude that we are today. And I think your story about, Jesus serving others, and I think that is what we stand behind. Yeah. We're built on the fruits of the Spirit and being able to help others and be able to serve. And mm-hmm. I think that's where, when we talk about serving others, is, we're not only partnering with agencies and distributing food to, eventually get that to food recipients who need it, but mm-hmm. also I think we are serving volunteers who come in mm-hmm. and empowering them to make decisions and helping them, them helping us with projects. Yeah. And too, when you kind of mentioned kind of the amount of people that we're serving. So we've distributed over, $400 million worth of food. Wow. And we are in, we have 12 divisions. We, service 23 states in the United States distributing food. Wow. So the magnitude of that is just amazing. It's certainly impactful.
Yeah. And is there any cost to receive this food?
There's not. So the food is distributed at no charge.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. So, and is it 2,000 organizations across the U.S. that you're servicing? Is that what you said, right?
So we partner with around 2,200 agencies. Okay. And those are, whether it's a church or it's, another organization who has a food pantry. So mm-hmm. we're working with those individuals who come and pick up the food from us and then service it to those individuals within their local community. Yeah.
Do you have any idea about, who most is impacted? Is it children? Is it adults?
I would say that kind of is, it depends. I mean, I think we're servicing all of the above. Yeah. It could even be that mom who is working 2 jobs and just struggling to make ends meet. It's like mm-hmm. we're able to help that food pantry with providing that food and helping her to make sure that she feels secure and being able to provide for her children. Yeah. And I also we have a program called Hope Packs, and we're just, working with agencies to distribute weekend food for students who may go home and may not have the, mm-hmm. Ability to get that food at home. Okay. So I think it's anyone who is in need of food we're willing to help.
So is the Hope Packs sent to the school, and then the children pick it up through school?
Yes. Okay. So we will, whether it's a local church, then we're partnering with the church. They're picking up the food, they're packaging it, they're distributing it to the school. We also have schools who are coming in and as a part of the program as well, who they're packaging the food and distributing it straight from there.
Wow. Okay. So how did this all begin? Who started the Midwest Food Bank? How did this come about?
Yeah, so we originated in 2003 by the Keyser family. So it's actually originated here in the Normal area. So they had a farm. They started with a barn, and they started distributing food out of the barn. And again, never could have imagined that it would be grown to the level that it has today. And I think there's a lot of foundation on the trust in God, and just through the kind donations and the generous support that we've received over the years. And I think that was very much instilled in the family and very representative of the culture here today.
I think tell me a little bit about the role that his parents played in his life, in David's life, the founder.
Yeah, so I think they were instrumental in kind of showing him the ability to serve others, and in their local community, understanding that there is a need for food, and that he would actually take the food down in his red wagon and be able to distribute that food in his local neighborhood. So I think that just has kind of truly shown that foundation and kind of where we've come.
Yeah, that's awesome. So the Midwest Food Bank is a faith-based organization, and what's the mission, the vision behind it?
Yep. So our mission is really just to share the love of Christ, in the hopes to provide food to those who are malnutritious, for those who alleviate hunger throughout the world, globally, domestically, globally.
Yeah. So how have you seen volunteers at the Midwest Food Bank be the hands and feet of Christ in just day-to-day operations?
It just amazes me, the volunteers who come in and they have that positive attitude, and to be giving of their time, and many of them are numerous hours, and some of them are in there every single day. And to know that, hey, I'm helping because this is what God wants me to do. So I think that their positive attitude and their willingness to support an organization, I think that just truly shows their love for Christ and just being able to give back to others.
Yeah. Do you have any specific volunteer stories or anything that you've heard of recently?
So when I first started at the organization, I'm mainly in Morton. There's a volunteer there. Her name's Norma. And she is the sweetest, kindest lady. She reminds me a lot of my grandmother. And, she would tell me her story of, her husband passed away, and she actually found purpose coming to Midwest Food Bank. And, she said, this is my family now, and that truly touched me, and that, we're not just here every day to work. We're also here to make an impact. And, she told me one day, she's like, when you walked in, she's like, I could just tell there was sunshine. And it's like, to be able to have that impact on somebody. And, and I don't even think she knows she's doing it or having that impact on me. But it's truly a blessing.
Yeah. I mean, if we take a step back right now, and we also think about the cost of food is rising, we are also just in a world where depression, just poverty, there's just a lot of hard things going on. And so for the Midwest Food Bank to be able to provide food at no cost to, reach over 4 million people?
$400,000 worth of food.
$400,000 worth of food.
400 million worth of food. Yes.
Yeah. To have that large of an impact, again, it just reminds me just of a miracle. And so it's in the U.S. and is it Haiti?
We're in Haiti and East Africa.
Okay. So how do volunteers make a difference in those countries? Is it they're just packing food that's then being shipped there, or how are we helping those different countries?
So for East Africa specifically, we also have, and in Haiti, we have like feeding centers. So we're actually going in and there's large amounts of children who need food. And so what we're doing is we're sending our Tender Mercies product, which is a rice and bean protein mix. And, we're going over there and being able to service large amounts of people. I would say internationally too, we have volunteers who, there's one specifically for Haiti, and her way of giving back is helping me with marketing.
Okay.
So we're helping, she's collecting some of those stories from people who are maybe boots on the ground there in Haiti.
Yeah.
And so she's actually working with me to kind of tell that story here.
Yeah.
Across the, whether it's the newsletter or it's imagery that we're putting in. So she's a great resource for me to connect the dots and bridge that gap.
Wow. What's her name?
Her name's Lori.
Yeah, okay.
Lori.
And is she like a Haitian, or is she?
No. She's U.S. and she just has an extreme passion for helping those in Haiti.
Wow. That's incredible. So, East Africa and Haiti, you said both have a location. How did that begin?
Yeah, so I would just say we have leadership who they have a passion and they understand that there's a need.
Yeah.
So we work together and figure out a way to distribute that food and how to get it over there and how to make a difference.
Wow. Are you aware of, or does the Midwest Food Bank have any other goals to go even further to more countries, or?
I'm not sure if we know that right now. I think we're kind of evaluating and figuring out what the growth. We do have so outside of international, we have other kind of I'll call them, they're not sub locations. Remote distribution centers, and that if we have a location in Bloomington and say we're servicing another state that's close by, so I think there's opportunity for future remote distribution opportunities, but I can't comment on other growth internationally.
So there's a resource called Charity Navigator, and it's very impressive because it shares that only 1% is paying the general operations, but the rest is all towards the program.
Yes. And I think that is very indicative of the volunteer model that we've created. So we're really looking to empower our volunteers and provide opportunities for them to strategize, for them to help us with different projects. We have many different types of volunteers. So we have our individual volunteers that may be someone like you or me who's coming in and maybe they're helping fill in project work, or we're packaging Tender Mercies and they're coming in and kind of sliding into that project. We also have those group volunteer opportunities. So with Nussbaum, if you guys are coming in and helping us with distribution, packaging that food to send off to agencies. And I think the most important and crucial role for us is those core volunteers. Those are the people like Norma, who I was speaking of, and she's there every single day, and she's helping us with what would be a paid position, but helping us in that volunteer role and servicing her time in a very consistent and regular basis. All of them are extremely important, but I would say there is certainly a need for more of those core volunteers. That's what enables us to keep that percentage low.
That's awesome. Well, we're excited to have you here today because the Midwest Food Bank in Bloomington is just a few miles away from us. We recently have, with our benevolence committee, started an opportunity for, I believe it's once a month, that we'll have 5 spots for our employees to go and to be a part of the distribution day, where you'll probably do some heavy lifting. What else would they expect from a distribution day as our employee?
And first of all, I just want to say thank you for servicing your time and coming over and volunteering with us. So it's very much appreciated. So I would say, in respect to that, there will be some heavy lifting. But it's such an interesting week. I mean, it's down to the process is very strategic. You're coming in and agencies are selecting the food that they're interested in. We're then going and packaging that food and putting it in the truck, and then that goes to some of the local pantries and other areas to provide food. The camaraderie that is experienced during the distribution week and the team building that I think your organization can experience is just immeasurable.
Well, that's awesome. Another thing is, I believe, so like someone has to drive these large trucks. And so I believe that we've had some of our drivers haul different loads for the Midwest Food Bank. How many volunteers do you need for something like that?
I think we're continuously looking for volunteers to drive our trucks.
Yeah.
So I would say we're distributing food. Every site or every division has at least one, maybe even two distributions that are happening every week. I know Bloomington's is once a month, and then they also have like a supplementary distribution. So as many as we can get. I don't know if I know that specific number, but I think that's definitely a need that we have.
Yeah. So when it comes to different holidays or disaster relief, I know if we just think about our life, like, you know, you've got a Christmas meal, you've got Thanksgiving, or there's just these special events that we celebrate. And for someone that's in poverty and they're still wanting to make an enjoyable meal, maybe for their children, how does the Midwest Food Bank come in on those specific time frames?
So we actually have a turkey drive where we're providing families with that turkey meal for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So giving them that ability to celebrate that as a family and have the food to be able to do so when they may not have otherwise.
Yeah. And where are you getting the turkeys? Where are you getting all this food?
Yeah, so we have multiple different sources that we're getting, you know, food from. We have food sponsorships. We have food manufacturers such as like Kellogg who are helping us donate that food. But I would say the majority of the food is donated.
Okay, yeah, that's incredible. And is it good food? Like, would you eat it? Or
I mean, there's some food that comes in there. You know, a lot of it obviously is coming in bulk, which I think gives us that volunteer opportunity to repackage that food.
Yeah.
But I know if you've been to the Bloomington location, we have, you know, these big gaylords of, you know, whether it's Cheez-Its or it's Fruit Loop cereal, you know, and I think there's a wide range. I've seen waffles, I've seen chicken. I mean, I've seen a lot of, you know, I've also seen energy drinks. So, I mean, I think it really kind of depends. Okay. I mean, we're grateful. I think that, you know, the nutritional value is something where, you know, would be a goal for Midwest Food Bank as we look to provide more nutritional food. Yeah. But, you know, I think at this point we're appreciative of what is donated, and it's certainly, I would eat it. Okay. I guess in to your question.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So when you look at the future, maybe the next few months, is there anything in specific that you feel like you guys really need, whether it's a specific time frame for volunteers or a fundraiser coming up, or...
I mean, volunteers is certainly a need. You know, we are constantly looking for, I would say, more the core volunteers that I was speaking of. We're looking to develop strategies to recruit more of the core volunteers. We have a lot of groups, and we're extremely thankful for them. But those tend to come, you know, more often than the core volunteers do.
Sure.
And I would just say, as it relates to events or fundraising opportunities, each of our divisions have fundraising opportunities, and you know, we're appreciative of all the financial support. So I would say that's always a constant need as well.
Do you have, like, let's say I donate $100. Do you know how much of an impact that makes? Like,
so yeah, absolutely. We have a great way of kind of showing it for every $1 that's donated, we donate $30 worth of food. Wow,
that's incredible. Especially, again, just with the cost of living and just different circumstances. So how has working at the Midwest Food Bank impacted your faith?
Yeah, I get goosebumps kind of thinking about this question. So for me, I think it's just really allowed me, it's given me a new perspective. You know, certainly I'm a believer, but just to see God working throughout this entire organization is just extremely humbling. And to know that people within this organization have confidence and have faith, and to know that regardless if we're going through something rough at this moment, like God will provide. Yeah. So I think that's really allowed me to take a perspective on my own life. And if you're going through a hardship, it's, you know, God will pull you through.
Yeah.
And it's having the trust that sometimes we think there's so much on our plates, and it's, I think it was even something Jada was talking to me about. It's, people have that mentality of, well, he doesn't give you more than you can handle. It's like, no, I don't think that's true. I think he gives you more so that you will depend on him. And I've really seen that reflective of this organization.
Wow. Yeah. Just talking to you makes me think of too how it says that not one sparrow will fall without him knowing, and how he knows even the amount of hairs on our head.
Yeah.
And thinking about a time that I visited the Midwest Food Bank and standing in that massive room with who knows how many different food containers, and just I have no idea how anyone could even wrap their mind around like how to organize something like that. Yeah. It just makes me think about how God has given just different people different gifts to be able to organize and structure and strategize how to donate and how to get these food to the people that need it. So yeah, I am sure that if someone comes and visits, they can just marvel at that same realization that there's got to be a God, because he's providing for those that need it.
Yeah. And just the impact that we're having every single day.
Yeah.
I think that is just truly blessed me in that ability to give to others, whether it's having a conversation with a volunteer and, maybe they're having a bad day, but being able to make an impact across the entire organization is just, it's amazing.
Another thing I wanted to touch on was the food's going to all sorts of different people. There's no discrimination. There's no strings tied to it. You don't need to be a believer in Christ. You don't need to show proof that you're trying to work or anything like that. There's absolutely no discrimination.
Correct.
And then the same thing with being a volunteer too. So to be able to encounter and to work with people from all sorts of different backgrounds and stages of life, whether it's a child helping their mom or an older volunteer, just to be there together, to be the body.
Yep. We've had young kids as young as 5 since I've been there, and one of the young girls left and, Mommy, this was so much fun. Can we come back and do this again? And that's all I can hope, that we have that impact on a child who's 5 or a gentleman who's in their 80s. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
And it, again, makes me think about, again, with the founder, how his parents had an impact on him to bring a food full of, and a wet, how his parents made an impact on him to bring the wagon over to their neighbors with food. I mean, maybe you're a parent and you bring your child, and who knows what kind of ideas or inspiration or dreams they have from just being generous.
Yeah, I am a mother of 2, and my kids are young. I have a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old. But for me, it's just instilling that servanthood, that model to give to others, and that all of that is done through the love of Christ. Yeah. And I think being able to articulate that and be a steward, I know that's extremely important to me. Yeah. So it's not only a personal thing working at Midwest Food Bank, it's professional for me as well.
Yeah. Awesome. So how can someone find out about opportunities near them? Where do they go? What do they do?
Yeah, absolutely. So MidwestFoodBank.org has all of the different ways that you can get involved, from volunteer opportunities to donating financially, and also just seeing all of our divisions within the Midwest Food Bank, fundraisers that are going on, events. It's a great source for all information.
What about for someone that's needing food?
Sure.
Would they go to the MidwestFoodBank.com, or where would they go?
Yeah, so if anybody is in need of food, they can actually pick up the phone and dial 211, and so that'll give them all opportunities, service opportunities within their local community on where they may be able to address those needs.
Yeah, I actually never knew that. That's awesome. Wow. Another thing I wanted to share is Bloomington has an upcoming event, correct? The gala?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So how does a person find out more about that or attend that?
Yeah. So Bloomington has their 13th annual gala coming up on April 19th. So we have a silent auction, we have a live auction, and we actually have a nice dinner as well.
Okay.
So we have a Facebook group out there where you can actually go and purchase the tickets. Also, if you go to midwestfoodbank.org and click on the Bloomington location, you'll be able to see information on purchasing tickets for the gala.
Awesome. Well, great. Is there anything else that you wanted to share about the Midwest Food Bank or just anything in general?
Yeah, I appreciate you inviting us to come and to chat with you guys, and I just am so appreciative of the support that everyone gives to Midwest Food Bank, and all I can hope is that we can continue down this path and fight the battle of hunger and be able to continue to be good stewards.
Yeah. Well, praise God. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being willing to be obedient to where the Lord's calling you. And yeah, thanks for being a part of the body.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Hi, this is Lisa from Recruiting at Nussbaum, and I'd love to answer any questions you have about driving with us. Give us a call at 309-268-1199 or visit nussbaumjobs.com. Talk to you soon. You've been listening to Terminal Exchange, the official podcast of Nussbaum Transportation. If you're enjoying our content, please leave us a review. Your reviews help us spread the word about these important topics and invite more people into conversation. You can rate and review us on your podcast app or visit us online at terminalexchange.org. New episodes arrive every other Tuesday, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow Nussbaum on your favorite social media platforms and be the first to know when new episodes are released. Thanks for listening. Until next time, own every moment and stay purpose-driven.